Last week, when the rest of the NFL was making moves to clear up some cap space in Indianapolis at the Combine, the Carolina Panthers were fairly quiet as they did not make any significant moves. And we wondered, was that a byproduct of the Panthers waiting to see what's going to happen with Brian Burns, negotiating with him, trying to figure out would they sign him to a new deal, or would it be the franchise tag and $24 million of their cap space going away? Then they would start to make some moves. Now that we've heard a bunch of reports from Adam Schefter, Josina Anderson, from Dan Graziano, and many others out there that Brian Burns is going to be franchise tagged, the Carolina Panthers can start to make some of those moves to clear up some cap space by way of Brian Burns now taking up a ton of cap space coming up as the new league year approaches and legal negotiating period starts on Monday afternoon. And that first move appears to be moving on from Donte Jackson. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN.com saying the Panthers are expected to trade or release veteran corner Donte Jackson per sources. Jackson has a $4 million roster bonus due March 16th, which should spur action. A release would save $5.9 million on the cap. Donte Jackson had the second highest cap number on the team, currently still does, as he's still a Carolina Panther. He has the second highest cap number at $15.7 million, which is still pretty low compared to Taylor Moton's $29 million cap hit. Well, there's a big difference. Taylor Moton was a player the Carolina Panthers should look to extend, a player who the Panthers have relied on at right tackle, who has been out there, has an Ironman streak, where Donte Jackson is somebody who has battled turf toe, a hamstring injury, a groin injury, a torn Achilles. He's dealt with that since 2020. And this past year only missed one game. Really great to see Donte Jackson stay healthy, especially for now his trade prospects, not just for the Carolina Panthers' sake, but for his sake, that a team will look at the medicals and say, okay, yes, he's dealt with injuries, but last year he was able to buck that trend that was started in 2020 and play a full season. And he can be somebody that we, another team, speaking of we, would be able to depend on as a starting corner next season. There's still teams out there I think will be interested in Donte Jackson. I would guess that he likely fetches a day 3 pick. I don't think their Panthers are going to get, obviously they're not getting a first, they're not getting a second. I don't think they're getting a third round pick. I would think probably like a 5th or a 6th round pick. 4th would be great for Donte Jackson if they're able to facilitate that trade. Now, the roster bonus is due next Saturday, March 16th. The Panthers are going to want to get rid of him by then. If they're not able to, it's just going to be go ahead and release him, and that will save $5.9 million against the salary cap. So right now, they have $35 million. So just plus 5.9, really just plus 6. They have $41 million of cap space. Add Brian Burns in there. That's $17 million of cap space. And there's some other moves like $13 million if they extend Taylor Moton. That's 30. And then if you go out there, the Panthers do, if they extend Derek Brown, that's 38. You cut Terrace Marshall and you cut Ian Thomas, that is about $41 million. So the Panthers can find some cap space now that they are going to find a way right now with Donte Jackson to move off of him, whether it's going to be a trade or a release. And looking at overthecap.com, whether he's traded or released, it's still $5.9 million the Carolina Panthers are able to save. Now, they will have to eat a bit of money when it comes to dead cap. It'll be $9.7 million dead cap the Carolina Panthers will have to eat, but that's worth it. And this is a byproduct, too, of all the restructures. When you restructure a deal, you push some money down the road. You get to a point in time where you look at your number 2 corner, a guy who was consistent for you this year being on the field, and you got to tell him, we just can't have you at that cap number. We're going to have to release you, or we're going to have to trade you. We just can't keep you around. Now, for the Panthers, this does complicate things a bit when it comes to the cornerback position. J.C. Horn, who Joe Person, it's either him or Matt Kay. Don't want to get it wrong, but one of those two guys are believing that the Panthers will likely pick up his 5th-year option. I've questioned that because, well, the guy has missed a ton of games. I know he's a good player when he plays, hasn't played a lot. And wouldn't you want to wait to see if he can prove to you? But looking at what the franchise tag number next year would be for a corner compared to what it would cost Panthers to just give him the 5th-year option for next season, the Panthers can save a lot of money if J.C. Horn is able to stay healthy, play well, and they go ahead and do the whole 5th-year option, which, you know, if he wasn't injured ever, it would be so simple to say yes to that. And for the Panthers, it may still be simple to say yes to that. But after that, it's DiCaprio Bootle, Deshaun Jameson, AJ Parker, Lamar Jackson. Those are Lamar Jackson, not the one in Baltimore, of course. Those are the other corners on the roster for the Carolina Panthers. I don't look at any of those guys as someone who's going to step up and replace Donte Jackson. So as great as it is, the Panthers are going to free up about $6 million of cap space. They need to have a plan for replacing Donte. CJ Henderson, don't think he's a part of those plans as he's out the door. Shaq Griffin, we'll see what happens there. Troy Hill, I would expect he'll come back to play another role for the Carolina Panthers as a veteran in that slot. And this is a draft. I was reading Ben Solak from The Ringer. He was talking about this is a great draft. You need a slot corner. Troy Hill can be that. The Panthers could go out there and get a slot corner. Mike Sanderstrill out of Michigan is that top guy right now. Don't know if that's what the Panthers want to do at 33. Not sure whether he'll be there at 33, probably, considering he's a slot guy, not an outside corner. And there's some other options out there. Andrew Phillips from Kentucky, somebody that has been mocked to the Carolina Panthers by Dane Brugler of The Athletic. That could be another option for the Carolina Panthers, but they're going to have to find an outside corner. They're going to need to find somebody who can be opposite of JC, hopefully for the next 3 or 4 years, barring that JC gets the 5th-year option, then he signs an extension here in Carolina. We'll see how all that works out. It would be nice if that's the way things work out, but they're going to need to find somebody who can start opposite of him for the next 3, 4+ years, if that can be the case. And I would think that now with Donte Jackson exiting Carolina, the Panthers are going to have to bring back a veteran presence. They may even try to add a veteran at corner, but they really should probably try to find someone via the draft to come in and help out and be that long-term starter for the team. So Donte Jackson, really do appreciate his play here in Carolina. Unfortunate, the injuries that he suffered. Thought this past year he was just okay. And for a player who's just okay, you can't sit there and eat $15.7 million of the salary cap, even if you're going to have to eat a decent chunk of that with the dead cap hit going towards the salary cap. So there it is. Donte Jackson, the Carolina Panthers expect to move on from him. We'll find out when that happens, whether it be a trade or a release.